This episode of IAB There is sponsored by T-Mobile Marketing Services. T-Mobile's Magenta marketing platform uses the power of mobility data to connect brands with their best customers. Combining high-quality data signals with premium digital environments, Magenta delivers actionable, engaging, and measurable experiences.
Good afternoon and welcome to IAB There, our streaming show in which we connect the digital advertising ecosystem. My name is Zoe Soon and I'm VP of the Experience Center here at IAB. Today, I'm excited to speak with Luke Callis, VP of US Advertiser Solutions at Snap. We'll be discussing how rapidly AR is moving from hobby to utility. Let's bring Luke on. Hi, Luke. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Zoe. Good to see you again.
You too. Let's get right to it. There's a lot to cover today. We're all aware in 2020, AR really shone. We saw it provide real utility for consumers in a world where we had to be physically distanced. As a result of that, have you noticed a difference in the number of brands approaching you to try AR solutions?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, there's no doubt that AR is simply about brand innovation anymore. It's really reached a point of brand proliferation. Mm-hmm. And before I dig deeper into that, I think it makes sense for me to just take a small step back to contextualize the Snapchat platform's audience. Every single day we reach 200 million Snapchatters logging in for 30 minutes, over 30 times. And the core of that audience is what we call the Snapchat generation. So it's made up of Gen Zs and millennials. And so what I think a lot of people don't realize is that that generation is 40% of the global population, and they have 4.4 trillion, that's trillion with a T, in spending power. So the brands love the audience, and I think AR, as it's proliferated, has really become another important part of the marketing mix. And so as COVID happened, what we saw at Snap was our AR usage skyrocket. So we now have over 200 million Snapchatters using augmented reality every single day. And so it transformed from a hobby in the last few years to being all about utility, as well as shared experiences. You think about all of us being in our homes for this long period of time, and we just couldn't get that hug, and we couldn't get that moment down at the local coffee shop. But a lot of people replaced that with augmented reality because you could have this really enjoyable moment of sharing experience together.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And what are you seeing advertisers doing with AR? Like, what kind of solutions are people coming to you for?
I think it's really interesting as you think about the marketing funnel. What we're seeing is that it's really a force multiplier for whatever you're trying to achieve. So it's really adroit at the top of the funnel in building brand awareness, as well as the bottom of the funnel and driving business outcomes. And so, a good example of that is when we see that you add augmented reality to our non-skippable 6-second commercials, brand awareness skyrockets. We also see that even when you add AR as a complement to linear. So a good example of this would be during the Super Bowl. We had the Super Bowl of AR on Snapchat, and one of the brands that participated was actually Uber Eats. And so when you're watching the Super Bowl, the Uber Eats commercial comes on, and if you don't remember, it happened to be about Wayne's World. You see Wayne and Garth, and you laugh, and you have this really funny moment of watching the commercial. Well, on Snapchat, I actually, in that moment, I opened it up and said to my wife, I said, "Wasn't that cool?" She said, "Yeah, that was really funny." I said, "Now you can become Wayne or Garth." And she immediately tried on the lens and transformed herself into it. We had a moment and we had a laugh. And when you think about that from a marketing perspective, it's really one thing to watch a commercial. It's another thing to live the commercial. And then, on the bottom of the funnel, what we see is it really helps drive business outcome. Over 50% of our business now on Snap is DR. And so a good example of this is Nike had an Air Max Day. And so they ran a multi-product campaign, but one of the anchors was being able to actually see the Air Max shoes that are being released. And then when you coupled that with our Snap ads and story ads showcasing different types of shoes for people to purchase, we saw that generate an incredible return on ad spend for them. So it's a little bit of a secret sauce to the alchemy of what you're trying to accomplish from a business perspective.
And it sounds like it's souping up every point of that funnel. So instead of seeing something, you're in the ad, it becomes a two-way participatory experience between the brand and the consumer.
Yeah, I mean, you think about mobile, right? It's the main form of consumption for time spent now. And when you look at the types of advertising and the length of advertising that's happening, it's very short duration. And we know that Gen Zs and millennials can process a lot faster. But when you get into augmented reality, the average play time is around 15 seconds. And that's really powerful for people to experience a brand and to feel like they're touching it and enjoying it, even if it's an augmented reality version of it.
I think there's psychological studies being done where the more salient, the more senses that get involved and participate with these experiences, the more memorable they are. Right?
Yeah, I think that the future is definitely going to be around the digital and the physical blending, and not in a scary AI future robot world, but in a really, really enjoyable aspect to be able to have that moment of experiencing what you want when you want it, and not always having to be at that location or being at a location and amplifying it through augmented reality.
Definitely. So we know what brands are doing now. We're to continue on that thought of, that blurred line between physical and digital. Where do you see brands playing in the space? Where is this all going?
It's actually very wide ranging at this point. You can buy augmented reality on Snapchat as a national takeover for a big product launch, or you can just buy it like reaching frequency through our business manager product. So what's happening is brands are experimenting, and some are very far down the line, and other ones are just beginning their journey. I would say when I'm thinking about COVID, there's been a lot of recent success in streaming, as I think we were all locked down, and we see the streaming wars going on. And then we've seen a lot of success in retail and in beauty, as well as e-commerce has grown more in the last 10 months than the last 10 years, as we know. So those are two good examples. And to get really specific, one of my favorites in the streaming world was Loki. It's the show, when it launched as Disney Plus's largest show ever. And we worked with them to create a lens that is actually about transforming you into the world of Loki and time travel. And then it actually takes your name and puts it in their font. And what's really cool about that is it's about, the entire show is about identity. So it ties into the theme of the show. It reminds viewers to tune in. And so it's accomplishing a multiplicity of goals, as well as being a part of the rest of the multi-product mix that ran. And then when you move into shopping, it's a little bit more utility and experience. We know that 87% of Snapchatters like to try on gear through augmented reality. And so we ran a campaign with Maybelline mascara. And you think about the pre-COVID world where you go in and you actually try it on at the counter, and now you kind of shudder at like sharing a product with somebody right after everything we've been through.
Yeah.
And so, but you don't have to do that anymore. You can try on 10 or 15 different colors and have it actually on your face. So then when you click the button to actually order, you know what you're getting and you've made an informed decision because it's very lifelike at this stage.
Yeah, and I think we chatted about this earlier. We're seeing brands having better results in terms of returns because people are having more fidelity in looking at and trying products before buying them, as opposed to just looking at a static image on a website.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hidden benefits. There's been a lot of data that actually came out in the last week around, obviously e-commerce is booming, but you hit the nail on the head, right? It's about these returns. People just order, if you can't try it on, I'm going to order 4.
Right, exactly.
And then they're going to return 3 of them. And there's a cost, obviously, to each of the advertisers. And so the fact that we can help mitigate some of that and increase their margins, as well as just drive the actual sale through, I think is a really powerful differentiator for augmented reality.
And I think the other one that is a nice differentiator is that the consumer also becomes like the brand ambassador, because they're putting their stamp onto a brand experience. So it's sort of personalized by default.
Yeah, and going back into all the data, all of the current data shows that the most influential people in your life are your actual friends and families. I know everybody talks about influencers, and I think there's an important role for them to play, but the most influential people are your friends and your family. And so our core mission, we're having our 10-year anniversary this year at Snap, has always been to connect friends and family. And so to your point, when you see somebody actually posts their private story or their story, or what we really see, through our research and talking to people, is that virtual try-on in the store or at home or through augmented reality, then sent to a friend, should I buy it? Like, that's a real-time moment that's happening. And you can say absolutely, or run as fast as you can, keep trying something else on.
It's almost like a digitized version of shopping at the mall with your friends, right?
It is, right? I mean, it's like everything else. It's like we're bringing the experience to the home. You don't even need to enter the space anymore.
I think related to this, I'd love to chat with you about the role between Snap brands and influencers or creators, because I think that's the other part of the ecosystem that's changing. It's not necessarily just the brands and the platform. You're bringing in a whole other entity that's helping drive the brand message home. Can you maybe talk to us a little bit about how Snap kind of encourages that dynamic?
Absolutely. I think as we started on the journey of AR now, over 6 years ago, from when we launched our first augmented reality lens, we really wanted to democratize it. And I think the way that we did it, and what's been most successful, is the launch of our Lens Studio. And just to add some context to it, think of it as the Photoshop of AR. Except it's a free software that anybody can download, and there's like all great softwares. There's a low level of complexity just to create something for yourself, or there's a high degree to get into that photorealistic environment. And what we've seen is 1.5 million pieces of augmented reality created by our Snapchat AR influencers. And so there's this really robust community creating all of this high quality AR. And one of the things we recently announced was our creator marketplace. And so we can now connect brands into our AR creators and influencers, and they can work together to really make AR creation more collaborative, as well as to celebrate those influencers. And I think, when you think of influencers traditionally, it's always been about the video influencers, right? And I think there's a whole new wave of AR influencers that have taken off that people don't know about. And I think that trend is only going to grow.
That's really interesting, because you're right. The video influencers everyone's familiar with. It's a whole industry, but this spinning up in the background now, we have the AR influencers, which I think I'm excited to see what they build.
Yeah, I mean, if you just go into the Snapchat app and actually go into the Explore section, and it pops up our AR, it's like a deep dive of enjoyability, where you can get lost for hours just typing in any single word. And you type in puppy, and you've got 40 lenses to transform yourself into a multiplicity of really, really cute dogs. And so the sky is the limit. So I implore anybody that hasn't taken the time to go in there and search through that community of influencers and all of that development. It's a fun little trip to take.
I think it's interesting that we're layering on different experiences here for brands to kind of soup up their offering. Like, you've got the AR, which is engaging more senses, more participatory, but you're also leveraging the social influencer aspect, where they already have relationships with these influencers, they already trust them, especially Gen Zs who are really influenced by social media personalities. So are you seeing more success in particular verticals with AR, Luke?
Yeah, we're seeing honestly, all of the verticals lean in different ways based off of the business goals they're trying to achieve. But I think a breakout success has definitely been retail, tying into e-commerce. You know, as e-commerce has had this boom and D2C has become a foundational strategy for all of the brands, we've been a big part of it. And I think when you think about augmented reality, it started with the face, but now it can be so much more. And when Samsung launched its new watch, you could actually try the watch on your wrist, or, you know, Foot Locker ran an incredible lens where you can actually try different pairs of shoes on in your feet and see what they look like. And so when you think about, you know, we talked a little bit about the margins being better on returns, but the experience of actually seeing something on your body or sending to your friend is really powerful. You couple that with, you know, the return on ad spend that AR is actually generating. It's really, really powerful. And so we're just trying to amplify that experience. And we've recently announced a couple of products that we're launching, which is True Fit body sizing. I think it's really important to make sure that anything that you are virtually trying on through augmented reality fits you. And so we want to make sure that if you're trying on a shirt or a pair of jeans, it's the right size. And so we're very excited about that. And then one of the things we think will help all of the verticals is many of the e-commerce partners use dynamic product ads, and they hook into the API and they're able to actually give a multiplicity of options for people to purchase. Well, we are launching our dynamic augmented reality ads, which will be the very similar processes, but it will be all AR. And so if you want to showcase 12 or 13 different shirts or pairs of shoes, you'll be able to do that now through those dynamic ads.
Yeah, amazing. I can't get over the dynamic body sizing, where you can just immediately see something on without having to actually go into a change room.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. And I think as you think about Gen Z and millennials, right, it's like, you know, there's just such a celebration of everyone's self. And I think this really ties into that. So we're thrilled that that's forthcoming.
Yeah, are there any other sneak peeks that you can give us about what Snap has planned to kind of help advertisers take advantage?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that we're most excited about, honestly, is public profiles for businesses. And so for the first time ever, we announced that brands can actually have a profile on Snap. And so what we really believe this is going to be is a home base for multiplicity of things. You'll be able to put up your highlight videos, you know, your hero spots or your trailers, or really fun moments from your brand. But you'll also be able to house your AR. And so what's great is AR continues to proliferate, and brands have created, you know, some of them a few lenses, or other of them, honestly, hundreds of lenses. They can have this home that people then can find and experience and subscribe to, and really get to live these AR experiences overall. And there'll also be links in those profiles back into stores, as we talked about e-commerce. So it'll be this incredible opportunity for brands to engage in a different way. And I think if you look back to yesteryear, right, where every brand used to have a microsite, you know, and go to the microsite, you know, and then they had their own URL, and then it proliferated and so on and so forth. We fundamentally believe that every brand will have an AR identity and an AR strategy. And I think it makes sense, because why wouldn't you want people to experience your brand and to know what you stand for? Because I think what we all learned in COVID is that it's more important than ever to stand for something. And so to be able to showcase that through augmented reality on your public profile is going to be really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I see this as the step before we go into full metaverse, like where brands are going to have a digital presence in another, you know, in a parallel digital world that Gen Z especially is spending more and more time in. So what better place to kind of learn what your digital identity is than now, and when these tools are available.
Yeah, I think, you know, I feel like the metaverse is sort of almost eating the real verse. lately in all the press and media publications. And I think it ties into what I was talking about a little bit earlier is I don't think we're all going to be virtual avatars, but I do think that we're just going to see the opportunity for people to live and experience in the real world, in the digital world, become really robust. And then like everything else, it'll be like, what is your interest? What is your hobby? And how can I understand this experience that's right for me?
Sure. Kind of going down that vein of Futureverse, what's your prediction for AR? Like we're seeing amazing things right now and it's definitely scaled and we're there. Where is this all going?
I personally believe that AR is going to become another advertising bucket. And so when you think about the online video bucket getting stood up, and we obviously have the programmatic and social bucket, I think AR is going to move from innovation into a bucket and a strategy, just due to the full force of business outcomes it can drive. So that's going to slowly happen over time. I think it was the year of mobile for 20 years until mobile became a strategy, and so I think we're going to see AR move into that larger level of importance from a spend perspective at the advertiser level. I think in the short term, we're really going to see a strong back half of augmented reality this year. What happened during COVID was many of the marketers shifted their budgets to direct response because everybody was at home. When you think about the brand messages that we received, it was a lot of I'm here for you, we're here for you, we've always been here, this is what we stand for. But it was a finite amount of creative messaging that they could put forth just due to the situation that we were all in. And I really believe there's going to be a creative boom happening in the back half of this year and into next year, whereas brands will want to be a part of the next normal. They'll want to be a part of your experience of reemerging whatever your own personal timeline is or your city's timeline is. And so when you think about creating experiences and creating utility, we think AR is really going to be a part of that. And so I think that's what we're going to see this year. And then as you look into the next few years, I think with the proliferation of 5G through all of the telecoms, many people think that means faster video load times. They're already pretty fast. What we think it means is really, really fast file size download for augmented reality to get us into photorealistic environments wherever you may be. And so that could be everything from on my directions walking down the street to having an AR overlay of like where I should be making a right, to taking a piece of furniture and putting it behind me and layering it into this room so I can see is it the right piece of furniture. I won't need to be on the strongest bandwidth possible. I'll be able to do that on my phone. So I think the future is very bright, and we're just at the beginning of the journey of what's going to be a really, really exciting time for everyone.
I love what you said about the creative becoming more and more important, because I think we're at that intersection where people are yearning for more emotional connection and needing that, especially after the year that we've had, and AR being able to provide that with that photorealism and in-person experience. Just to finish up, any advice to brands who are maybe watching this and thinking, oh, I'm interested in getting started, but I don't know where to start, or is this for me, or is this only for the big brands? What would you say to brands watching this?
I would start what I think is a fundamental misconception that AR is very expensive, and what is happening now is, I talked about our creator marketplace. We can help. I think there's many incredible agencies that are developing AR. A lot of brands are actually doing it in-house. You could actually use the Lens Studio software I talked about. And when you think about buying it, you can buy it, like I said earlier, through reach and frequency. And so most importantly, you can test and learn to figure out how is it going to help your marketing mix. And I'm not sure that message has gotten out there, because I think when AR started, it was this really heavy lift that was really expensive. And over time, like many things, right? If you add a few years and you add a lot of expertise, the price has come down. So I would say, get involved. It's not going to break the bank. And, I would also say that consumers are just rapidly adopting AR. And so, I talked about virtual try-on. I talked about the 200 million Snapchatters that are using AR every day. AR is not the future. AR is today. And so I think the brands that can get on the augmented reality train from the start, or honestly at this point, from the middle, at least on the Snap platform, are really going to find a new level of success that's complementary to what they're already doing. So don't be scared, get involved, and I think it'll be great for your long-term business.
Great, thanks, Luke. Well, guys, you heard it here first. Get involved in AR. Thank you so much for joining us, Luke. It's really great talking to you.
Thanks, Zoe. I appreciate you having me on, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Will do. And if anyone out there is interested in learning more about AR, we have an AR board of directors, industry leaders looking to grow the marketplace. Please reach out, zoe@iab.com. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks for watching, guys.